Welcome to One Story, One Voice, your weekly online, live, in-depth interview brought to you by the Jindal School of Journalism and Communication at OP Jindal Global University, where we discuss one current story with one prominent voice. Our story today, of course, is the World Environment Day theme, Time for Nature. What better time than to talk about time for nature? It is now urgent and existential. Let me give you some numbers. 40% of the world's oxygen comes from forest. The rest come from oceans. 50% of the chemical medicines are based on nature. 100% of our food comes from nature. We need nature to sustain us. And 2020 is a crucial year because it may change everything. Maybe it's a last chance. And joining us today is a special guest, all of 8, Licypriya Kangujam. I'm sure if the audience was live, Licypriya, they would have given you a big hand. But we are online. We are on different modes of communication these days. Licypriya is known as as reportedly is the world's youngest climate warrior. That's what she likes calling herself. And she's also the founder of the child movement. She was a student of KIT International School in Bhubaneswar, and then she dropped out. Guess why? Because she wanted to talk about climate action. And since February 2019, she came to protest in front of the parliament every week, demanding passing of the climate law. I mean, look at what we brought to ourselves. An 8-year-old child has to stand in front of the parliament demanding action from the governments for climate law, for climate action. You know, that is why I think the world belongs to the younger generation, because we have faith. But welcome, Licypriya. First, tell me, are you for real? I mean, at 8 years, you have traveled all around the world, won several awards, and you are there telling the adults how to change this planet. Are you really there?
Yes, I'm really there, and I want to tell to the elders that that they should not tell to any children, yeah, child just like me, that you are too small, you can't do like that. So I want them to not do, and I never mind what they say to me. I am a girl child, I'm strong, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I'm brave. Many children and youth inspire from me.
Licypriya, what do you understand by time for nature? I've seen your Instagram handle. You have been using the hashtag time for nature. What does this mean?
COVID-19, coronavirus is the testing time for our leaders, and it is the testing time for our nature and human beings. 2020 is a very crucial year to decide the future of our planet. But due to this COVID-19, it weakened our movement, but not the spirits. I had to cancel lots of my planned schedules, events, programs, activities, campaign, etc. But I still continue to plant trees nearby roads, places to my home. It's really hard to manage these lockdowns. So, but nature are healing by their own in this lockdown. That's why we call time for nature.
You know, you started very early. You know, you were almost an infant when you went to, I think, Nepal with your father, and you saw your father doing some activism out there, and you got interested. I mean, you know, at a time when children are actually playing with toys, you started playing with plants. You started almost, your actual work started almost at 7 years of age, 6 years of age. What inspired you, Licypriya?
So when I was just a small kid, I accompanied my dad for raising funds for the victims of the deadly massive Nepal earthquake of 2015, where more than 10,000 people died and lakhs of people got injured. We went to Nepal all the way from India by the road to drop the foodstuff, medicine, clothes, etc. for the victim children and families. I get scared when on television I see people suffering and dying due to lack of awareness. I cry when I see children lose their parents or people becoming homeless due to danger of disasters. My country has many disasters like earthquake, flood, landslide, etc. My heart feels sorrow when I see people can't help themselves when disasters strike. But I know there are millions of brave people who have came to lend their hands with courage to save those in need. I get very happy when I see rescuers saving children and their parents from dangers. That was the first time where I learned the word climate change and natural disasters. But I couldn't realize what exactly it is as I was a small baby that time. Now I realize that this could be the main reason why I'm concerned about the planet and our future. In July 2018, when I was just 6 years old, I got a chance to attend one United Nations disaster conference in Mongolia. I've heard lots of speeches from our leaders, scientists, experts, policymakers. It was my life-changing event. After return back from Mongolia in July 2018, I have started my organization called the Child Movement to call the world leaders to take immediate climate action to save our planet and our future. Greta Thunberg greatly influenced me in February 2019. Since then, at Parliament House of India, I am standing and I am telling to our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, and our MPs to pass the climate change law as soon as possible from the paper to become action. If they pass this climate change law, then we can control the carbon emission and greenhouse gases.
But Licypriya, let me just interrupt you out here. You mentioned Greta Thunberg, and a lot of people would be comparing you. I mean, not comparing as in, referring, because Greta became such a international phenomenon, though she's slightly older to you. But are you friends with Greta?
Yes, I'm friend of Greta, and she's one of my inspiration. People call me Greta of India, but I'm truly Licypriya Kangujam of India. So I want to tell to all the people, international and national media, that they should write our real name while writing a story.
Yeah.
Because we have our own name, own identity, and own country and own story. If you call me Greta of India, then you are not writing a story. You are deleting a story.
Very nice. I agree. I completely agree with you. But do you exchange mails and messages with Greta?
Yes.
And do you plan that what should the children do around the world? How should children educate the adults in trying to save the planet? Do you all have conversations like this?
Yes, we discuss and do meeting with Greta, Sister Greta, and we discuss with her that how we can save our planet and our future, and what we can do when air pollution disaster happens. We do many discuss about it.
I also saw, Licypriya, that recently when the cyclone Amphan struck in West Bengal and the neighboring states, you were very much concerned and you were
Yes.
campaigning.
Yes, I was protesting.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm so concerned about it because their government was cutting down the forest of elephants. Yeah, they were cutting down the forest. I'm so sad. Their government, their government should be very, very shameful that they are cutting down the trees. How trees is so important for our lives, and trees also give us oxygen.
Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly. At this point, I also want to tell the audience, and our audience are on various platforms. They are on the Zoom webinar platform. They are on YouTube. They are on Facebook. So we have audience all over watching, and our team will pass on the questions to us in about another 10-15 minutes. We will start taking questions. But at this point, I also want to tell the audience, remind the audience, and Licypriya, I will take her response also, that what is our relationship with why are we fighting with nature today is because of some facts, and science doesn't lie. We can tell much of the story of the damage of a species through just a few facts. 3 facts for you to be able to understand the damage that we have been wreaking over this planet of ours. Humanity has altered 7 ice-free surface. 75% of the ice-free surface of the world has been altered by us. Since 1990, I'm not even going before that, only let's talk about 1990. 420 million hectares of forest. And these are not exaggerated numbers, probably these are underreported numbers. 420 million hectares of forest, which is equal to 3 times the size of South Africa, have been lost. I have myself reported in the areas where I used to report as a journalist, major, deforestation. And nearly 1 million species face extinction, while the illegal wildlife trade is the 4th largest illegal trade crime in the world. And let's not say that the illegal trade happens only in one country or various other countries. It happens across all countries. And the country that we live in, India, is, if not part of it, but also a transit route. I mean, only in the northeastern part of the country, where I have reported extensively, a state from where Licypriya originally comes, though she hasn't spent much time out there in Manipur. But let me tell you, those are the areas from where the illegal wildlife trade happens, and where devastating proportions of deforestation has happened. We have only very few biospheres and hotspots that remains in the world, and that needs to be protected. And if we all don't join hands, then it's going to be too late. And we know right now, while the lockdown is happening, of how critical and existential this situation has become. So please send in your questions soon, because Licypriya and I will take your questions. Consider Licypriya's age when you, of course, put the question to her. She may be a climate activist, but she's still a child. And like I mentioned, and I will repeat this again, probably towards the end of the show, the fact that an 8-year-old child is on the streets, on your streets, trying to save your planet, I think that itself is a reminder. That itself is a reminder of the crisis, of the proportion of the crisis. But Licypriya, let me come back to you again. You dropped out of school.
Mm-hmm.
Did your parents support that, or your parents were horrified at the idea of you dropping out of school?
Not exactly. In that time, my father supported me a lot, but my mother did not, because she was concerned about my schooling, education, and about my future also. So, So when I've gone to in the month of December, in COP25 in Madrid, Spain, in the month of December for 2 weeks. So when I've been spoke there, then my mother was so happy, so proud from me. So she decided, so she has no. Then she know that climate change. Not only education is important, climate change and education is both important for our future. So from that time, my mother support me a lot, and we had no other choice to drop out the school because my my parents can't afford the expenses for traveling every week from Bhubaneswar to Delhi to protest every week in the Parliament House of India. So I have no other choice, so I have to drop out my school, so I drop out it. After then, many people love me, invited me uh, in many programs, in every day, every year, every week, every month throughout the year. So
Do you Licypriya, do you miss being a child? I mean, you are playing the role of an adult. Do you miss being a child, or do you enjoy this?
I also miss being a child, and I miss my friends, teachers, and my school in Bhubaneswar. But I'm thankful to my parents for make up my study by doing homeschooling, and my parents called the teachers at the night. I study in the night after return back from doing the programs. 2020 was a very busy year for me. But in 2020, I've resumed my study. I'm so happy. In Bangalore, I've studied in one school called Indus International School. But still, many people send the invitation to come in the program events in my email, but I accept the invitation only in Saturday and Sunday, and other holidays like summer vacation, winter vacation, etc.
So, tell us a little about the child movement that you have founded. What does the child movement do?
Child movement is a voluntary movement for children. Like you can say, it is a people movement for climate justice, to save the children's future, to call the world leaders to take immediate climate action to save our planet and our future. I've did lots of campaign activities, climate strikes with my climate activist friends, children, and we have give awareness to the people of rural areas, and we teach them what is climate change. They should protect the nature, and what is tree is very important for our lives, and tree give us oxygen, etc. I have three main demands to our government and our leaders. Number one, to pass this climate change law as soon as possible from the paper to become action. If they pass this climate change law, then we can control the carbon emission and greenhouse gases. Number two, to include climate change as a compulsory subject in our school education curriculum in India and every parts of the world. So if they include climate change as a compulsory subject in our school education curriculum, then we can fight the climate change from the grassroots. And it will also help to educate our world leaders by their own children and grandchildren, because they can't believe in science and climate change is real. Number third, students must plan minimum 10 trees every year to pass their final examination. In India, we have 350 million students. If 350 million students plant minimum 10 trees every year, then we would plant 3.5 billion trees. Trust me, India will be green in after 5 years. So that are the three main demands to our government and leaders.
Now, your demands, you've talked about your demands, but let me ask you something, that you have traveled to 32 countries. Very widely traveled child,
Yes.
probably the most widely traveled child. But you have addressed, or at least you have spoken to people in various places. Do you think adults listen to you, or they just treat you like a child? Is it do older campaigners take you seriously?
Yes, they take it seriously. I spoke out to the leaders in the UN, and many people listen to me, and some people also cry when they hear my speech. Many parents send their children to protest with me, to pick up the plastics and garbage from seas, rivers, oceans, streets, etc. And in other places also. And also they plant trees with me. I planted more than 50,000 trees. And some people are being jealous from me, but I never mind. I have not time to do the fighting with them. Yes.
And do you know, when you're talking about 50,000 trees, Licypriya, there was a man that some years ago, been almost a decade now, that I stumbled upon, and he is now very famous. He's also received the one of the highest civilian honors, the Padma Shri. He was a farmer in Assam, near Kaziranga, okay, in the Majuli Islands. And one day he saw, many years ago, he saw a lot of cobra babies' eggs die in front of him, and they were on the hot sand. And he asked himself, he said, when he was a child growing up there, that place is to be full of trees. How come there are no trees? And if there were trees that day, those snakes would have survived. So what he did was that he started planting one tree every day. And over a period of time, over 30 years, he created a reserve forest. So you have a large reserve forest where there are wild animals, and that's created by one single person, and his name is Jadav Payeng. And there are many such people around the world who just continue to plant trees because they are passionate about it. I think those are stories of passion. Your story is also one such story of passion. And I'm sure that is going to inspire a lot of people. But let me ask you, on the poster of this program of today, there was a picture which you sent me, and you said that you would like to use that picture where you are walking in a protest with a megaphone.
Yes.
Very nice picture. So what do you say in a protest? When you are in the protest, what do you say?
So in the protest, I say, what do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it? Now. And climate action, climate justice. We tell it to the times. We tell lots of many. So many children was me in there, and I was holding a microphone like that, and I was telling many children behind me was also telling that, and so I realized that they also want to save the future of everyone living in this world, and I also teach them, giving awareness to them. I taught them many things about the climate change, natural disasters, like that.
All right. And, I'm again asking the audience now to start typing your questions. The team of One Story, One Voice will pass on the questions to me. The ones on Zoom platform, they can type their questions out here. I'll be able to see those questions as we are trying to wrap up our 101 interview with Licypriya Kangujam. I hope I'm pronouncing the surname correctly. The world's youngest climate warrior. Now, Licypriya, what do you think are the immediate actions that our governments should take on environment? I mean, we've seen what happened with the cyclone Amphan. We are witnessing and surviving and mourning what's happening during the lockdown and the pandemic. We know exactly what's happening all around the world, now even more acutely than we did. What do you think should the government do right away?
So, our three main demands to our government, I'm telling again. So, number first, I want they should pass this climate change law as soon as possible from the paper to become action. If they pass this climate change law, then we can control the carbon emission and greenhouse gases. Number second, to include climate change as a compulsory subject in our school education curriculum in India and every parts of the world. And if they include climate change as a compulsory subject in our school education curriculum, then we can fight the climate change from the grassroots. And it will also help to educate our leaders by their own children and grandchildren because they can't believe in science and climate change is real. Number third, that students must plant minimum 10 trees every year to pass their final examination. In India, we are 350 million students. If 350 million students plant minimum 10 trees every year, then we would plant 3.5 billion trees. Trust me, India will be green in after 5 years. That's all.
Okay, Licypriya, now let me give you some questions. I will also try and answer the questions with you, okay? We will answer the questions together, all right? There is a question from Nisha NR. So what can we do at the basic level, what can we do? So the audience, I don't know what Nisha NR's age group would be, but whether it's an adult or a child, what do you think, what kind of action that can we do? Licypriya?
So I think we can plant many trees in there. By planting trees, it will help us to give more fresh air, and it will and trees help us to control the carbon emission and greenhouse gases, and many cyclones. If we plant trees, then climate change will be not happen. Disasters can't be also happen. Yes.
Okay, there is a question from Neelam Sharma asking, how can we involve school students other than planting trees and no use of plastics to contribute? So how do we involve more children? Planting trees is one, but apart from planting trees, what else can they do?
So children must tell their parents. So I have a small message to all the children of the world. Children must tell their parents that they shouldn't cut trees. If they cut one tree, then plant minimum 10 or 20 trees. Don't use car or bikes every time. And children must tell their parents that they should walk if it's nearby. Animals are dying due to plastics. So please do not throw garbage or plastics on streets, ocean, river, or seas, or anywhere else.
There is Manjushri Palit who's asking a question. What do you want to say to the children little older than you who spend more time with video games and computers than with nature? I mean, I suppose those are also interesting things, isn't it?
Okay, so they should not waste the time doing the video games, TV, playing with the toys. It's so I think it would be more fun to plant trees. Yes, it is really fun, and it will also protect our nature. It's so good, and it will also fresh air to our lungs. If we plant in our home garden, then it would give us and no virus and no flood can become, and it's good. And there would be wind, cold.
Yes, fun, great fun. So you
Yes.
and Srinivasan Sundra Rajan is asking a question: Can states and union bring Can states and union bring lockdown to lower the utilization of fossil fuel and down the carbon prints? A little tough question, but I suppose during the lockdown, has the environment become better? So, was lockdown a good idea then?
Yes, by doing the lockdown, it's good, and the mm,
It is a little.
yes, it's really good for us by doing the lockdown because of this coronavirus, COVID-19, and it will also air pollution will be low. Yes, but we want permanent solution.
Good. Yeah, we want a permanent solution. Lockdown is not a solution. Lockdown has shown us that yes, the air can be cleaner in
Yes.
just 4 days, in just 1 week. Birds are chirping,
And if our leaders is with us, then we can do anything for our earth and for our own future.
Yes.
If our leaders is with us, then.
Yeah. Sudhir Chandran, should a child be a specialist when she should be a generalist at young age? Interest is okay, but I feel immense. I feel that she have. Do you have other interest? This is what someone is asking. Is this your only interest, or are you interested in other things also?
Yes, I'm also interested in other things by doing the bicycle. Yes, it's really good for us by not using the scooty bike like that. By doing the cycle and walking, that's very good for our health.
But is there any
And
other,
it will also not make much pollution. Yes.
Do you play any games, Licypriya?
Yes, I play lots of games with my sister, and sometimes I play climate change disasters game. Like I tell her like this is a disaster place and how we will save that place. So lots of drought is there. Then people have many seeds to plant trees. Then what should we do? I question her and play just like that type of games.
There is someone called Brad Rederson asking a question that I head up a team called Sustainable Sikkim in Gangtok, focused on actions for sustainability and navigating our way through the climate crisis. What do you see as the toughest part of encouraging industry and government to take real actions to help slow the pace of climate change? A tough question, but let me explain. Have you understood what the question is? That one of the
sorry.
Yeah, when you protest, when you make your demands, what is the biggest problem that you face from them? That do they listen to you, or do they don't listen to you, or even if they listen to you, it takes a long time. So what are the roadblocks in climate action and climate justice? Tough one.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a little bit tough. I can't do the tough because I'm not an expert or a scientist.
Yes, yes,
I can answer.
I will.
Sorry.
Yes, I'm sure Brad Redison will understand that, that she may not be able to respond to this question of yours, but I think it's a rhetorical question in a sense that he answers the question himself, where yes, the real actions in climate justice, climate action is because of the glacial pace of the governments and the bureaucracy and the policy makers. And we are too late. We are already too late in the process of climate action and climate. There's someone called Ishita Dang, and I am presuming she's a student of ours, a journalism student, who said that she was researching to write a paper on climate change, and then she found out that the younger generation is not very active. They are constantly posting on social media rather than actually going down to the field and working. And I think you have already answered that. But if you want to again tell the young generation that, that Instagram or Twitter or Facebook is very nice, it has some footprint, but then we actually need to go down on the ground to be able to cut on the carbon footprint, isn't it? Do you agree, Licypriya?
So I want to tell something. I want to add something that and also in the World Economic Forum 2020, we told our leaders to abandon the fossil fuel economy. Let's stop telling something and doing something. Children are more smart and more concerned than our leaders. What we want is climate action now without wasting any more time.
There is someone called Shrirup Chaudhary who teaches environment and climate change and is a scientist in the university where I teach, Licypriya, and he's also watching you, and he's asked that we need more people like you. But the question that he wants, he's posing to you is that, did you meet any of the political leaders and speak to them? Did you get a chance to speak to them?
Okay. Yes, so I get chance to meet them, some chief minister like that, but not leaders. I met them, yes.
What do they say?
So they just asked me that that what you are doing. You are just a small kid. So what did you do like that? What did you? I have not too much talk with them, but in chief minister, I always, when I meet any government or world leader, I always tell them that that can they include climate change as a compulsory subject in the school education curriculum. So I request them like that to include climate change as a compulsory subject in their state or country. Yes.
We are, while we are waiting for more questions from the audience, let me ask you on a different note. And I was talking to you before the show started, is that and some people in the audience also wanted to know. So what do you do when you're not protesting? You play with your sisters, you said, but do you have a favorite song, or do you have a favorite movie? What's your favorite song?
My favorite song is like I love the Disney cartoons, like princesses, songs like Elsa, Let It Go, Let It Go, like that. And I have my sister is more better singing a song. When I sing, then she laugh a lot. But I never mind what she because she is just a small kid.
Yeah. Can you sing a song for us?
Yes. So, which type of song did you want?
Oh, any kind of song.
Okay, so any kind of song. I think I can do some English song like that.
Okay.
Yeah, Hindi. So, let it go, let it go. Na 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 na. I can't sing, but I can make the voice of that.
Okay.
Like na 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 na, just like that.
Okay. Have you ever used songs in your protests? Because
no, I never did like that.
Oh, you must think about it. Protest.
Yes, so in the great October March 2020, my climate activist friends like Friday for Future, Greta's summer team, they taught me something like a song. Yes, I did it. We have the power, like that. I don't remember that song, but my sisters remember it a little bit or not. I don't know. So today after this interview, I will ask her. Yes.
Yes, out
She
here.
teach me the song.
Someone called Dalpat Singh was saying that we can suggest that environment should be a compulsory subject at the school level. And yes, Mr. Singh, this is what Licypriya has been repeating, that environment and climate should be a compulsory subject at the school level. We, in fact, in our university, at all levels, we have climate change and environment as compulsory courses for students. Students are encouraged to study, do field work in climate and environment change. Shrirup Chaudhary again asks, that's a very sweet voice. Do you ever feel any fear talking to the elders? Do you prepare yourself mentally when you are in a big meeting? So how do you prepare yourself when you go for a meeting, Licypriya? And do you get scared?
Not exactly, but when I do first time like that, then I be a little bit scared. But my parents tell me that never be scared while you are doing a protest or any meeting like that. So I never be scared and talk to them like that. And also while protesting in the first time in Parliament House, so I was really very scared that the police will not catch me or do something with me. I was so scared. But my parents taught me just like that, never mind what they say, but always do the things what the things are there in the mind you have to say. So I remember that, and I always do the things. Yes. So I tell them that I will protest to the security of Parliament. Sometimes we also fight that let us do this type of things. You are allowing us without permission. We have came. Then what matters to you? Like that, I have tell very strongly. So after that, my first time protesting in Parliament House. After that, I have never been scared like that from any meeting like that.
So someone called Uttaran Das Gupta, who also teaches at the OP Jindal University in the journalism school, he says, hello, Licypriya. In several parts of the world, young climate warriors have taken to the streets to protest against government inaction. They're asking the government just the way you do. In the UK, okay, in England, all right, in UK, they managed to force the government to pass laws to protect environment through protests. But the pandemic has made it difficult to go out and protest. So yeah, during the lockdown pandemic, it's becoming difficult to go out and protest. So what are you doing?
So many climate activists has weakened our movement due to this lockdown COVID-19, but it has not weakened our spirits. So we do online conferences, meeting, and we are also doing the online climate strike together. But I've never did the online climate strike, but I have did it online conference and meeting.
And Joydeep Gupta, who is actually the professor who teaches us climate change and environment in the school. And it was through Joydeep that I at first got your contact, Licypriya. And Joydeep asks a question that, are you part of Fridays for Future? Have you heard of Fridays for Future? Are you part of it? And
oh yes, I have heard of it. I have many friends from Friday for Future. It is great as team, na? So I know about it, and I'm friend of Friday for Future. I have many friends, climate activists from Friday for Future team, and they teach me a lot. I have get many inspiration from them, new knowledge. Yes, they teach me a lot, and we do climate strike together. The biggest climate strike I did together is in the Madrid, Spain. Yes, Greta spoke in there.
So someone called Ranga Rao is asking that would you like your legislators means your political leaders, okay, the policy makers, the MPs and the MLAs, would you like to tell them to save paper in government offices so that we can save trees and environment? Though paper is no longer made from trees, I know paper is made from bamboo, and bamboo is considered a grass, not a tree. But would you like a paperless office? Have you campaigned for a paperless office?
So you can just see in Delhi how air pollution is so dangerous. Even children can't move out of the home. I'm worried about the health of the school children and small babies. Government announced that there would be holidays for 3 days and again for 5 days, but this is not the solution. Our leaders are just busy in blaming each other instead of finding a long-term solution. They are just telling the speech, they are not doing any action. I want our world leaders to do more action, otherwise our future and our planet would be dying soon. They must act now to save our planet and our future.
And Neelam Sharma was talking about online classes and online work has reduced paper. So is online teaching a better way of teaching than traditional? I mean, this is, of course, we have just started online teaching, Neelam Sharma. I can tell you that it may be a way for the future, but it does not replace physical teaching and the experiential teaching at all. But it's a good alternative, and I think we will be adjusting, acclimatizing, exploring ways and means so that teaching can be more inclusive, and teaching is not only, and learning is not only for a few who can afford online teaching, because remember, most people will not be able, a large majority of our country will not be able to even afford online teaching. Ishita Dang again asks, Licypriya has a question, a bit personal, but I am curious about it. How did your parents react when you first started? I mean, if I say something like protesting to my parents, even I am 19 now, I don't think so they take that seriously. So one of the students, Licypriya, is saying that she is 19 years old, and when she tells her parents that she wants to go out and protest, her parents don't take her seriously or don't allow her. So how did you convince your parents? Particularly your mother, because your father, I think, did help you, but your mother was against it initially, right?
Yes. So she should explain to her parents that climate change is important for our planet and for our future. Cyclones like this are happening just because of climate change. Sea level are increasing. She should be explain her parents.
All right. Any other questions, audience? We will discuss a little, and then we are running right out of time for this program. Time for Nature, which was the title of the program today. Hashtag This has been the World Environment Day theme this year, Time for Nature. And, you know, why do we say time for nature? Because I don't think so anyone needs really convincing. Anybody who are part of this gathering today or anywhere else, they do not need convincing, but they still need to know how they can be part of the climate action, climate justice. But to just give you a little more idea, and again, taking from the UN Environment Program, let me read out some facts to you till you may type a few more questions. That, you know, around half of the global GDP depends on nature. So nature is not just about, you know, birds and bees, about seeing lovely lakes and hills and feeling the fresh air. Very, very important, because that's what matters. But even if you were to be in the corporate sector, even if you are, and one piece of good news, Licypriya, and for the audience, is that coal mining has been suspended near the Dibru-Saikhowa Reserve Forest in Assam. This morning, the news came in. So that's a good piece of news. The bad piece of news is that work on dams, big dams in Arunachal, has again restarted. So every day we keep getting more bad news than good news, but sometimes there is good news. But around half the global GDP depends on nature, ladies and gentlemen. Our oceans and forests, which we have allowed or which we have ourselves destroyed, they sustain billions of people and they provide green jobs. 86 million green jobs are from forests alone. So when we are talking about unemployment, we can't not talk about deforestation and degradation of nature. 4 billion people, billion, not million, 4 billion people rely primarily on natural medicines that come from forest. Natural climate solutions such as afforestation, something that Licypriya is doing. She's herself planted 50,000 trees, and using greenery to cool our cities and buildings can provide around 1/3 of the emissions reductions needed to meet the goals of the Paris Agreement. So nature is of greater significance today than ever. And I think, you know, this is, I'm thankful to all of you who have participated in today's show, because each one of us is not just complicit, but now we need to be even more alert, even more active in joining the rest of the people's voices in climate action and climate justice. Let me see if, before wrapping up, if we have any other questions. Yes, Licypriya, you want to say something?
So can I say some few words to the people of India and people of the world? So today I want to share something with everyone living in this world from my little heart. We all know we are facing a pandemic on one side and flood, drought, heat waves, cyclones, etc. on another side. Now this is the time to wake up. This is the time to open your eyes. This is the time to send your children and grandchildren to fight for their survival and for their own future. The best gift parents can give to their children is not a beautiful house, expensive cars, lots of money. The best gift you can give to your children is a beautiful planet. To give this planet, you have to empower yourself. If you can empower yourself, then you can empower your family. If you can empower your family, then you can empower your neighborhood. If you can empower your neighborhood, then you can empower your community. If you can empower your community, then you can empower your state. If you can empower your state, then you can empower your country. If you can empower your country, then you can empower the whole world. Empowerment means independent. Independent means freedom. Freedom is when you can protect your land and environment. Freedom is when you can protect your children's future and culture. Freedom is when no one can discriminate you on basis of caste, creed, color, sex, or any other differences. Freedom is when you can read and write. Freedom is when you are out of hunger. Freedom is when we are all together in this fight. Fight for your freedom. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Licypriya. Before going, there's one last question. Let's see whether you can take this question or not, because I don't know how to answer this question. What are your thoughts upon Elon Musk's project to create another Earth on planet Mars? Have you heard of this project? No, you're not aware of this project?
Yes.
Even I am not aware of this project. I mean, I've heard of Elon Musk. I don't know Elon Musk. And thank you so much, Licypriya. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, all students who have participated in One Story, One Voice, your weekly online live in-depth interview. And I don't think so we are going to have anyone younger ever on this show than Licypriya Kangujam. I hope you are successful. You go ahead with your demands, with your protests, because we need more children like you. But don't forget to play with your toys. Don't forget to sing. Don't forget to do everything that a child of your age does. Also study hard, because as you said that you have to study. So I'm sure your parents will take care of the house schooling that they are doing. And next week, same day, same time, we will return to you with another show. And this time it's going to be actor Adil Hussain, with whom I'm going to be in conversation. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.